Last night, you had 4 dreams, maybe 5. One of them probably felt completely real. A conversation, a place, a feeling you couldn't name. And within 20 minutes of waking up, every single one was gone, not faded, gone. Here's the part nobody talks about. Your brain didn't accidentally forget them, it deleted them on purpose. And the reason why might change how you think about what memory actually is. Let's start with what's actually happening in your brain while you dream, because most people picture sleep as one long, quiet shutdown. It isn't. Sleep has architecture. Your brain cycles through 4 distinct stages roughly every 90 minutes, all night long. 3 of those stages involve progressively deeper rest. The 4th is something else entirely: REM sleep. Rapid eye movement. This is when you dream, and your brain during REM sleep is not resting. It is almost indistinguishable from your brain while you're fully awake. Oxygen consumption spikes. Neural activity surges, your visual cortex fires. Your emotional centers, the amygdala, the anterior cingulate, run hotter than they do during most waking hours. The brain is doing something intense, something it considers important enough to do 4 or 5 times every single night. And yet the memories vanish. Here's why. During REM sleep, your brain makes a deliberate chemical decision. It almost completely shuts off the production of norepinephrine, a neurotransmitter that plays a central role in encoding new memories. Norepinephrine is the chemical signal that tells your hippocampus, "This matters, save it." During waking life, it flows constantly. During REM, it drops to near zero. This isn't an accident. It isn't a side effect. Your brain is actively choosing not to consolidate what's happening into long-term memory. The question scientists spent decades arguing about is why. The leading theory belongs to neuroscientist Matthew Walker. His argument is counterintuitive. He believes dreams aren't meant to be remembered. They're meant to be processed during REM sleep. Your brain is doing something closer to emotional surgery. It takes the raw, unresolved experiences from your waking life. The argument you didn't finish, the fear you pushed down, the memory that still carries weight, and it replays them, but stripped of the stress hormone cortisol. It lets you re-experience emotionally charged events in a neurochemical environment that is calm enough to actually examine them. The point isn't to store the dream. The point is to change how the original memory feels, to sand down the sharp edges, to file the experience somewhere less painful. The dream is the process, not the product. And once the process is complete, the dream itself is discarded, like surgical notes thrown out after the operation is done. This is why people with PTSD often fail to recover through normal sleep. Research shows their REM sleep is abnormal, flooded with norepinephrine, even during the phases when it should be suppressed. The brain keeps trying to do the surgery, but the anesthetic isn't working. The memories keep replaying at full emotional intensity. The dream becomes a trap instead of a treatment. But that's only half the story. And the second half is stranger. In 2019, researchers discovered something that changed how scientists think about dream forgetting entirely. A group of neurons in the hypothalamus, called MCH cells, turn on specifically during REM sleep. And what they do is remarkable. They actively suppress the hippocampus, the memory-forming engine of your brain. These neurons don't just fail to encode dreams, they reach in and block encoding from happening. When researchers artificially activated MCH cells in mice during waking hours, the mice started forgetting things they had just experienced. When they suppressed the cells during sleep, the mice began retaining dreamlike experiences they normally would have lost. The forgetting isn't passive, it is engineered. There's a dedicated system in your brain whose job every single night is to erase what you just dreamed. And here's what nobody talks about. That system might be protecting you. Think about what you dream. The content is not random. Dreams are built from fragments, people you know, places you've been, fears you carry, desires you don't act on. They mix freely. Your dead grandmother sits in your childhood kitchen, your boss speaks in your ex-partner's voice. A place you've never been. Feels like somewhere you've lived your whole life. If you retained every dream with the same clarity as a waking memory, your brain would have no reliable way to separate what actually happened from what your sleeping mind constructed. Memory in the waking world is already imperfect. It distorts, it fills gaps, it rewrites itself every time you recall it. Now imagine adding 4 or 5 nightly episodes of vivid, emotionally charged, completely fabricated experience, indistinguishable in emotional texture from real life to that already fragile archive. The confusion would be catastrophic, reality would start to blur at the edges, and you would have no way to know which memories were real. The deletion isn't failure, it's filtration. Your brain dreams freely precisely because it knows it will forget. The absence of memory is what makes the process safe. So why do you sometimes remember? That question has a specific answer. Dream recall almost always happens when you wake up during or immediately after REM sleep. Your brain is still close enough to the surface of the dream that the images haven't fully dissolved. If you lie still and focus immediately, you can sometimes hold fragments, but the window is narrow, roughly 2 minutes. After that, the MCH cells finish their work and the content is gone. People who say they never dream are almost certainly wrong. Studies show that when sleepers are woken directly from REM sleep, even people who insist they don't dream, they report dream content more than 80% of the time. They dream every night. They simply wake at a point in the cycle where the erasure is already complete. And the dreams you do remember, the ones vivid enough to stay with you into the morning, those tend to share a specific quality. They carry an emotion strong enough to partially override the suppression. Fear, grief, euphoria. The chemical signature of the emotion leaks through and anchors a fragment to something close enough to a real memory that it survives. Not because the brain intended to keep it, because the feeling was too loud to fully quiet. This is why recurring dreams exist. Scenario? Your brain has not finished processing, keeps returning. The surgery isn't complete. The same emotional wound keeps getting reopened, examined, and set back down unresolved until something shifts. In your waking life, in your understanding, in the weight the experience carries, the dream keeps coming back. Your brain spends roughly 2 hours every night in a state of intense activity specifically designed to heal you, process you, and then erase all evidence that it happened. You wake up changed in ways you cannot measure, calmer about things that used to sting, less afraid of things that once felt enormous. You don't remember the work being done, you only feel the result. That feeling you had this morning, the one you couldn't quite name, the shadow of something you almost remembered. That wasn't a lost dream. That was your brain finishing the job, filing something away, smoothing something down. The dream is gone because it worked, and you have no idea how much of who you are right now was quietly built in the hours you spent forgetting.